Hi. If you recall on Saturday when I posted the Facebook post on Resilient GP about using synonyms in practice, there were quite a lot of requests on how to actually go about setting these up. Rather than posting another post with a couple of sentences on how to do this, I thought maybe I'd film this as a tutorial, if you will, to show you, because it's really easy, and once you do it, you won't go back and you won't regret it. I tend to use synonyms quite a lot in my general practice. Pretty much every consultation involves the use of a couple of synonyms. In order for this to work, it's really important that you ideally use phrases and key sentences that you use in regular everyday practice, something that's personal to you. There were a couple of queries about whether this is medical legally a sound thing to do. I personally don't see that there should be a problem with using synonyms, because otherwise you'd end up typing these out again and again, and thereby wasting a lot of time. The way I come up with synonyms is when I find that I'm writing something on a regular basis throughout the day, I think maybe should I use a synonym and try and save myself some time. And on average, I think I can save 3 minutes in every 10-minute consultation by using synonyms. But in order for synonyms to work, it relies heavily on the integrity and the honesty of the doctor. So whatever it is you document should have happened in the consultation. If you have a synonym with lots of information and you perhaps haven't asked everything that's in the synonym, I would perhaps always suggest deleting the things that you haven't asked, so that it is a true consultation, medical legally speaking. I'm going to just show you how to set them up, which is really easy, takes less than a minute, and then maybe give you some examples as well on various synonyms that you can use. I tend to find them very useful with most things. Red flags of cancer are particularly useful because there are lots of things to have to remember, and I have them according to site-specific synonyms. So I have upper GI, I have lower GI, I have pancreatic cancer. So when I trigger these synonyms, a whole couple of sentences comes up with lots of symptoms and signs that I've asked the patients. So it helps me actually do the best that I can for the patient, because I can look at those and perhaps if I've forgotten to ask a symptom, I will do it once I've read through them and the patient is with me as well. Okay, so I hope it helps, and this is my first video, so please be gentle in the comments section. And if there's anything you want to ask me as a follow-up, I'll be happy to answer it on Facebook as well. Now I'm going to show you how to set up EMIS Synonyms on EMIS Web. Essentially, you need to have the consultation history screen open for any patient. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is the patient you're going to be using the synonyms on, but you need it to access the control panel to set up these synonyms. I've chosen Mickey Mouse for confidentiality issues. When you have a suitable patient's records open, you need to hover your mouse over this button here, which is known as the CR config button. Press it once. A pop-up screen will open up, and you will see quite a busy screen here. The top part of the options rely more on changing the organization options with regards to synonyms. So that means that if you put one in here, everyone in the organization can use it, which can be quite useful if you're coming up with system templates and system changes that you want everyone to utilize. I tend to use the user options more often because those are my own personal preferences, especially when it comes to synonyms. So just go down and under user options, go to consultation synonyms. If you're a first-time user and have never used synonyms before, you need to tick this box that says enable synonyms. Once you've done that, you'll be faced with these three options: add, edit, and delete. Your screen will be blank at the time because you haven't populated the list of synonyms, whereas mine have the ones that I've stored over the years. So to get started and add your first synonym, just press the add option, and you'll be faced with another pop-up screen. The synonym here essentially is going to be the trigger word that you use. An interesting fact came up on the Facebook discussion page when I posted on Saturday, where somebody had mentioned that in order to prevent just that keyword being used in a sentence and then triggering off the synonym, they have put either an X or a hash tag in front of it. So I'm going to start doing that actually, because that is actually quite a good idea. So if you start with an X, it's very unlikely that somebody's going to be using that particular word in a sentence, and so that doesn't accidentally trigger a synonym. So for example, the first synonym that I'm going to show you how to put down is one that I found quite useful and that I find myself telling patients about a lot, which is how to educate them on spacer use when you're giving them an inhaler. So I'm going to put down my trigger word being X and then SPACER and education, EDU. Remember, the shorter it is, the easier it is to obviously access the synonym, and it also saves you more time rather than having a long phrase, which sometimes is very difficult to remember. So mine is going to be X spacer EDU. I've already copied from free text on a Word document, and I'm going to paste it in here, and that's essentially what I want to have documented whenever I type in this key synonym trigger. So essentially it says demonstrated use of spacer and blue inhaler to patient and how to use when having cough and wheeze symptoms. Patient is now educated on its use and when to take the inhaler. Now, it might just take 25 seconds, but imagine if you're doing that again and again in a morning consultation, or even if you do it every other day, it does save you some time. And then when you're done, you just press OK. Now you can check that that one will be on your list. It is there. And I'll show you how we use them in a consultation later. Another one, say, that I use, I've deleted that one, but just so that I can show you how to add it again. Now I am going to copy the free text off a Word document that I'd saved previously. Copy and just minimize. So I find myself telling patients about the addictiveness of opiates whenever I prescribe, even for short-term use, things like ocodamol and tramadol. So I have a trigger which I'm going to start off with an X and then opiate, and then I will just paste the free text and we press OK. And you can just check that it's on the list there as well at X opiates. Now, there is another interesting thing you can use synonyms for. I've just shown you how to use two examples on how to use it with free text. But if you press add again, and rather than putting free text, if you find yourself searching for various codes, for example, when we do when we give emergency contraception, I tend to document that we have given advice about a long-acting reversible contraception, as that is a or used to be a quaff a point. So if you put LARC, and then rather than having free text, you can actually search for the code. So I know from previous use that it's 8C8W. So you can search for that in that little box there, and if you just select whichever code it is that you want, so you can put that one there, and now I will press OK. So this is actually an EMIS read code. I'll show you how to use that as well. So, OK, and then we click all right, open up a consultation. OK, that's fine. So for example, let's see you're speaking to a patient and you've just demonstrated how to use the spacer, and you want to then use the trigger synonym. You just put X, SPACER, EDU, and that comes up. Simple as that. Now, let's say we have given them some opiates as well, not for their asthma, and you just want to document that you've discussed all the effects of the opiates and how to use them and to try and minimize their use in the future. That's the trigger word. And let's say that you've seen somebody and given them emergency contraception and you want to just code it so that EMIS will pick up the read code. You put X, LARC, and that's your code. Now I'm just going to demonstrate using some very common ones that I tend to use. I see a lot of adults with sore throats, and their history documentation can take a little bit of time, but it tends to be the same thing over and over again. So what I have done is I've put a synonym which is triggered by AD for adult, then ERTI, and then history, and that comes up. Then when you do their examination, or let me just show you the child one as well. I've just, for me, I use things that I can remember. So it's child, CH, ERTI, and history. And then I can add and delete the number of days on the history, or document and change whatever it is that happens in the consultation. But at least you have the foundation to try and sort of have your the history put down quickly and efficiently, so you don't have to repeat it over and over again. I have one for examination as well. The same thing: add, ERTI, and then examination. And the same thing for children, CH, and then ERTI, and then examination, and that comes up. I hate having to document low back pain because I see them so many times, and it's a hassle having to repeat it all over again whenever you see a patient. So I have this. So X, it stands for whatever weeks. So let's say somebody has had 2 weeks of low back pain. If it's left-sided, just delete the right one. It's going into the groin. If it's not, then you delete the groin bit and just say that it goes down into posterior leg, if that is what the patient is saying. If it's not going into the buttock, you can just take that off as well. And you have the history very clearly marked out there. So let's say you have a synonym and you've put it down and you want to know how to edit it. You can just pick any one of these. So you can press the edit button. Now, the trigger word can't be edited, but you can edit the free text. So if you feel that there is something that needs to be added, or if you need to modify it, that's easy to do. Now, if you want to change your trigger word, what you'd need to do is you can copy this, and you can either press Control-C or just right-click and press copy, and just cancel it, and then you can delete it. So if you delete that, and you add, so we have add, ERTI, and then history, and then you can paste it again. So, but if you then want to change the synonym, you can just change it up here and just press OK. But that is actually, sorry, I cut the wrong one. Add ERTI examination, and then we cut that. So I've developed my red flag symptom list as synonyms, and I do them as a site-specific. So for example, to start off with, I have general red flags. So that's just a one-liner with some of the general things you'd expect in cancer. And obviously documentation that there is no such feature in that patient. Then we can move on to lung red flag. Then I have lower GI red flag. We have upper GI red flags. We have urogenital as well, and the trigger for that is you need to start a new sentence each time. So uro and then red flags. There is brain as well, brain red flags. I have pancreatic as well, pancreatic cancer, so pancreatic red flags. Now, imagine you've asked all these questions. Just taking a history doesn't actually take that long because we tend to fire these questions at the patients. But actually documenting this amount of detail, it takes a long time. And I mean, for me, this would take 5-6 minutes just to type out. So when I see patients like this, I get less frustrated because I know that I have the synonyms to try and cope with the actual note keeping afterwards. So I hope some of this is very useful for you. Like I've said in the past, it's important that you personalize these. You can see them in front of you. These are my synonyms. Feel free to use them if you want. But it would look really odd if the solicitors started having a look at all of our notes and we all have the same synonyms. So what I would urge you is that in your own best interest, that you actually personalize them. Make the flow of writing seem like it's coming from something that you would generally type out in your day-to-day practice.